This is Dr. MATLAB, Lecture 4, Plotting. MATLAB is a great tool for making plots. You can plot your data, you can plot your results, you can make very elaborate plots. But first we need to learn how to make simple plots. So let's start with a simple plot. Let's plot sine on several points between 0 and 2 pi. So here we go. I've made the points. I'm going to plot x versus sine of x. I'm going to dock this figure. Great. So here's x versus sine x. I can do x versus cosine x. I can also plot sine x versus cosine x. So the x is the sine and the y is the cosine. And there it is. It's supposed to be a circle. It looks like an ellipse, but notice it goes from -1 to 1 and from -1 to 1. So if you want to make it look like a circle, you can issue the command axis square. Now it looks like a circle. But what if you want it to be a red circle? Then you can add the line style R. You still have to tell it to be square. You can put more than one command, more than one plot on one figure. So you can do the following: hold. So now it's going to be held. Hold toggles it. If I issue hold again, it will be off. So I want to hold, or you can say hold on. That will definitely be on. And now I want to plot not x, but I want 3 times x, and not x here, but 5 times x. And I want it to be black. So here's my Lissajous figure on top of the circle. I've already shown you how to change color. There's a few things you can change. If you look at the plot help file, you will see there's a lot of information, but here's the information that I need for this. These are the letters for the colors. These are the letters for the markers. I'll show you in a sec. And these are the symbols for the line style. So let's see how that makes a difference. First I'll turn off the hold. So here, now I've turned off the hold. And now I'm going to plot this with this type of line style. So that's the dotted line style. And the marker is going to be this right pointing triangle. I can also change the line width with a typo. There we go. That makes it a little bit difficult to see, so let's make a smaller line width. There we go. It's a nice thick line if we need such. You can also just change the marker size. If we need, without changing the line width. We can add a title. We can add an X label. And a Y label. And we can change the axis. We can change the axis by using the magnifying glass. That was double click to go back to the original view. Or I could change it directly from the command line by setting what I want the axis to be. So let's zoom into the first quadrant. X, X, Y, Y. There's the first quadrant. See? From 0 to 1. From 0 to 1. This is the first quadrant. I can work with multiple figures. If I undock and close this windows, and what I'll do is I'll make my MATLAB window small so you can see where the figures are. Here we go. So here's the undocked figure. I can work with multiple figures. I can open another figure. So here's another figure. So I have figure 1 and figure 2. And I can access them by either clicking on them before I issue my plot command, or from the command line, figure 2 will pop up figure 2. And now if I plot something, plot sine x, cosine x in green, then it will plot it to this one. I can change the location of these plots by looking at the following. So this tells me where this plot is. This is the starting x, starting y, width, and height. And I can change all of these by setting the position. So instead of what it is, let's set it to something else. So now it became this small thing. Let's bring it up a bit so that you can see it too. There we go. I can add text to my figure. I have to say what the x is, 0, what the y is, 0, and then what the text is. So that puts it at this point. 0, 0 is the beginning of the text. I can clear the figure without closing it. I can separate it into subplots. Let's say one row of plots, two columns of plots. Here's the first plot. And in this first plot, I'm going to plot this one. And then the second plot, I will plot this one. Ah, that's a bit messy. Let me make this bigger so you can see what's going on. There you go. So here's a subplot. This is the first subplot, this is the second subplot. So I encourage you to read the help files on all the commands that you saw here today as a way to learn how to deal with plotting in MATLAB.